Hello and welcome back to the Monday MLB DFS slate breakdown for July 7th. We made it back. We got one more week until All-Star break. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann. Come join me. We're going to go into today's slate. We're going to start off by the perfect lineups and winning lineups from yesterday's slate. Then we'll get into pitchers to consider and stacks to consider for today. As always, come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do. The props, the DFS, you get it all for one low price. Now, let's dive in. Let's check it out. Let's see what we got. See what we can figure out. And we will start off with the perfect lineups. Perfect lineup on DraftKings. We got Wheeler. We got Brandon Woodruff. Brandon Woodruff's first appearance since 2023. And he goes for 6 innings on only 70 pitches, 1 earned run, and 8 Ks. Welcome back to the league. You, sir, are still very good at throwing baseballs. Zach Wheeler went nuts, 9 innings, 12 Ks, complete game. Then we had a 2-man Minnesota stack. And then all one-offs. 232.45 was that perfect lineup score. And the winning lineup went to Hoop. So congrats to Hoop. He won by 9 points. He had Skubal. He had Wheeler. Yesterday was one of those days where there were lots of very good pay-up options, and they were chalky. There was big leverage getting a little different, like Woodruff, but Woodruff would have been a very scary one. Anyways, Hoop went with chalk pitching, but it got it done, and that's all that really matters. And then we had a 5-man Boston stack. 2-man Detroit, a one-off with Stott. So the old 5-2-1 lineups construction does it again. This is a regular thing here on DraftKings where 5-2-1 wins it. Now, let's get over to FanDuel. We had Wheeler, no surprise there. He went for 70. Then we had a 2-man Minnesota, 2-man Detroit, and some one-offs with the 299 perfect lineup score. And the winning lineup went to Need Lunch Money Doe, who had Wheeler. 4-man Detroit stack. 2-man Colorado. One off with Parker Meadows and Bo Bichette. Congrats to Need Lunch Money. Let's jump into today's slate and see what we can uncover here. And on to DraftKings. All right, so it's a 9-game slate. No real cause for I guess we need to watch weather in KC and in Cincinnati. There is a storm. There could be pop-ups. Need to watch it, but I think we're probably going to play a lot of baseball tonight. All right. High owned on DraftKings, 27% Christopher Sanchez, and he just looks like he's in an absolute beautiful spot. Dude has been absolutely dealing lately. 3.23 FIP over his last 20. 1.59 over his last 5. K rate's right around 26%. StatCast data is absolutely beautiful. 52% ground balls. Very little hard contact. A lot of soft contact. Very few barreled balls. Team splits. Giants have not been able to hit lefties. 152 plate attempts. They're hitting 197 with 146 ISO, 277 WOBA, and a 29% K rate. Absolutely love this spot for Christopher Sanchez. Combined K rate 27%. Let's go. Next, we got Yusei Kikuchi, 7,200, 26% owned. Look, 7,200 for him is way too cheap, especially with how he has been dealing lately. 3.73 FIP over his last 20 at the 25% K rate. But over the last 5, 2.345 FIP and a 34% K rate. Guy has been unstoppable lately. Now, he's also averaging 26% more fantasy points at home. Texas has not been good versus lefties, and Kikuchi's in a good spot. He also has good team BVP against them. 26% combined K rate. I absolutely do not mind some Kikuchi, and I do think that price is too cheap on him. Now, if his ownership gets too high, I will be a little worried about him, just because, like we've talked about for a while now, we got some worry about Kikuchi just being consistent. He can have up and down games. He has been great lately, but he can easily come back to earth and get blown up. And with that, I don't mind a little bit of Texas stacks, but I absolutely do like Kikuchi on this spot. I would rather have him than Texas stack, but I'm going to have some exposure to both. Next, we got Freddie P 9K versus the Dodgers. While Freddie is a great pitcher, we haven't seen the upside from him that we generally do, and he's in a tough spot versus the Dodgers and getting ownership. I just can't do it. I imagine his ownership falls throughout the day here. I don't mind if you get a little, but I do think, at 26% owned, I would be way, way, way under the field. Next, we got Jose Barrios, 8,500, 25% owned versus the White Sox. I absolutely love this spot for Barrios. One, he's averaging 24% fantasy points while away. He has been pitching very well lately with the 3.39 FIP. He has a 4.28 over the last 20, which is still solid. He has big time ceiling. We have two 30-plus games, a 28-plus point game out of him. And while there is the low, there's just that huge ceiling that makes me keep coming back to Barrios, and he's in a good spot versus the White Sox, who can't hit righties, or really anybody. So I don't mind picking on the White Sox again in this spot at 8,500. It's very interesting to me. Next, we got Jacob deGrom, 10.3K versus the Angels. So we do have some nice hitting weather here. DeGrom has been absolutely on fire lately. 1.94 FIP and a 29% K rate. Over the last 20 is at 3.1 and a 26% K rate. Guy's been dialed in. It's a very boom-bust spot versus the Angels. They strike out a lot, but they can hit the long ball. I like DeGrom. Huge upside in this spot. I don't mind getting some, and I think he's probably going a little under-owned. 22%, that's fine. Next, we got Tanner Bybee, 7K, 15% owned versus the Astros. This is a tough spot. Bybee has been very good lately. 2.74 FIP over his last 5, 24% K rate. But the Astros have been swinging the bat very well, and Bybee is averaging 48% less fantasy points away. This is a very tough spot for him. With a 7.5 game total, Vegas obviously thinks there is some upside here with Tanner Bybee at 7K. So I have some interest. I'm going to get some. He's probably going too low owned for the way he's been pitching lately. However, those Astro bats have been on fire lately, and I don't want to go have a ton of Bybee. Next, we got Yoshi Yamamoto, 10.5K, 14% owned. He's too good of a pitcher to be low teens in ownership. 3.33 FIP over his last 20. It's about the same over the last 5. 28% K rate over both. StatCast data is fine. Milwaukee can score in a bunch of ways, but hey, we got a 7.5 game total, and Dodgers are minus 137 favorites. Almost 58% favor to win. Like the spot. He's also averaging more fantasy points when he's away. I'm going to have some Yamamoto for sure. Next pivot. Look, I'm bringing up Zach Gallen here more so to talk about him than I really do love him. He is having such a Jekyll and Hyde season. He is having huge ceilings and then gives you 1 point the next time out. Look, 43 points versus the Yankees. Had 13 Ks. Last time out, had 10 Ks in 7 innings, putting up 35. He has 3 games, if you want to include this, at 29 plus fantasy points. The ceiling is there, but he still has a FIP of 6.11 over the last 5, 5.03 over the last 20. He can do it against San Diego. He's done it in the past, but he also gave up 4 runs versus them earlier this season. I think it could go either way with him. At almost no ownership, if I get a couple, I'm totally fine. He's not a guy that I want to totally fade, but I also don't want to go too hard on him. Next, we got Brady Singer, 7,500 versus the Marlins. 3.87 FIP over his last 5, 4.68 over the last 20. K rates, low 20s. StatCast data is a little scary here. 38% hard contact, and it's in Cincinnati, so that ball definitely has a risk of going out, but He's only at 35% fly ball, so he doesn't allow a ton of fly balls. The splits versus Miami don't scare me all that much. They're striking out at 21%. The BVP data is only 21 plate attempts, so we're not going to talk about that, but combined K rate is 23%. I think there's some upside in this spot. He went up and put 27 against them earlier this season, and last year went 7.1 innings, 1 earned run, and 5 Ks. I think he can shut out this Miami offense. It's been hitting decent lately, but I'm going to just side with Singer at home here, and I'm going to have some shares at 7,500. I think that's a bit cheap. Now, getting on over to FanDuel. DeGrom, 11.2K. That is pricey. I don't mind getting a little bit. Christopher Sanchez at 10K. Absolutely love it. Yamamoto at 10.6. Absolutely love it. Burrios at 8.7 is too cheap. Kikuchi at 9.2. Very interested in. Gallon, you know my feelings. Bybee, it's scary, but I don't mind a little bit. We didn't talk about Yu Darvish at all. I just want to let you all know that he's only on 70 to 75 pitches, something like that. While he can give you a okay score on, say, DraftKings and that, it's not. I can't count on it on FanDuel. Can't count on him being able to go 6+ innings and get the quality start on FanDuel. So he is out for me on FanDuel. If you want to play a little bit on DK, you can. I just don't love the spot. Jason Junk is also someone you can talk about on DraftKings. I wouldn't probably go here on FanDuel just because upside is slightly limited, but the guy has a 2.36 FIP over his last 5 and 2.99 over the last 20. K rate's not the highest, but there's at a cheap price on DK, it does make a little bit of sense versus an offense that's okay, however, much better versus righties. Now let's get into some stacks. Stack attacks. And our highest owned stack, we got Boston versus Austin Gomber. Great hitting weather in Boston today. Warm weather. I think it's mid or high 80s. Winds are blowing out towards left field at like 10 miles an hour. Gomber's not a very good pitcher. Boston makes a ton of sense here. I'm going to have some. Almost 100% owned on a 9-game slate is a lot, though. Highest projected. We got Boston popping up. We got Cincinnati versus Jason Junk. I do think Cincinnati may go a little over-owned versus Junk. He's been solid. He's not a guy I really want to pick on right now. Miami versus Brady Singer. I don't mind a little bit. They've been swinging the bat good. I do like Brady, though. Highest value, we got White Sox versus Barrios. I talked about Barrios. Huge ceiling, very low floor. Means having some White Sox stack isn't going to kill you. They're cheap. They have some upside. I don't mind a little bit. Not going to have a ton of them. Kansas City versus Heaney makes a ton of sense to go here with a 4.95 FIP over his last 20. Implied total of 4.6. I don't mind some KC. Cleveland versus Colton Gordon. Fine, getting a little bit. Our high ceiling, we got Houston versus Tanner Bybee. Look, 4.61 FIP over his last 20 starts shows that he can get absolutely blown up. While he has a 2.74 FIP over his last 5, the Astros been hitting well. That ceiling is obtainable. I don't mind getting some Houston at home. Then you got Toronto versus Sean Burke. Burke's okay. I don't mind it, but not going to go super hard on Toronto away from home. They just don't hit as well away. Arizona versus Darvish. They're too good of an offense to fade, especially against a guy that's been barely pitching for the last, year and a half. All right, leverage. Angels versus DeGrom. Huge leverage in that. DeGrom's going to go high owned. Angels have some home run potential. Not a spot that feels comfortable, but it makes sense from a game theory aspect. Landon Raup versus Phillies. I like that spot for him. Only bummer. It's a cool afternoon in San Francisco. Ball won't travel as well. tough place to hit, just very pitcher friendly, but that Phillies offense is good, and they're going to erupt soon. They got to. And let's click the teams tab. So 5.5 is the highest implied run total, and that's with Boston. Cincinnati's at 4.7. Super interested in that, or kind of interested in that versus Jason Junk. I do prefer Boston over Cincinnati by far. Toronto, 4.7 against Burke. Again, it's another spot I don't totally love. KC, 4.6 versus Heaney. Don't mind some versus Heaney for sure. Miami versus Brady Singer. I'm going to get a little bit. Padres versus Gallen. Very interesting. Gallen's got blown up. The bullpen's terrible. There's upside there, so I'm going to have some. Colorado versus Dick Fitz. Absolutely going to go to some Colorado here. Just too good of hitting conditions. And Richard Fitz hasn't been that great. 4.91 FIP over his last 20, 6.81 over the last 5. Texas versus Kikuchi, just big time upside with that bullpen. And Kikuchi can give up the long ball. Arizona versus Darvish, covered that. Interested there, and also interested in Houston. Down below here, don't mind a little bit of Philly and a little bit of the Dodgers. They're just too good of offenses to totally fade. And then White Sox, I'll have a little. Cleveland, maybe a little. That's all. Most of it, I'm sticking in this middle region, and then with Boston. And that's going to do it. You guys have a good one. Welcome back to another week of DFS shows. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.